This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us this Monday. I'm Aja Goare. President Trump attacked the author of a new book, which paints him in a very unflattering light. But the author, Michael Wolff, tells CBS News his book is 100% accurate. CBS's Mo Langi has more.
Everything in the book is true.
Michael Wolff, the author of an explosive new book about President Trump, appeared on CBS this morning to defend his work. Fire and Fury Inside the Trump White House paints a picture of a president who doesn't read, and some question whether he's even fit to serve. President Trump fired back on Twitter, saying he is a genius, and a very stable genius at that.
I consider it a work of fiction.
The president also says Wolff doesn't know him at all.
I never interviewed with him in the White House at all. He was never in the Oval Office. We didn't have an interview.
Wolff was less definitive when asked whether or not he interviewed the president.
I think he probably had no idea he was speaking to me for this book. When I would meet the president in the White House, we would chat as though we were friends. I'm sure he didn't think they were interviews. And in all fairness, he might say, I was not being interviewed.
Steve Bannon, the president's former chief strategist, is now walking back some of the more explosive quotes that appeared in the book. Bannon is quoted as saying that Donald Trump Jr.'s June 2016 meeting with Russians to obtain damaging information on Hillary Clinton was treasonous. He now says those comments were not aimed at Don Jr., but rather aimed at Paul Manafort, the Trump campaign chairman, who had also attended the meeting. But it may be too little too late to repair the damage with President Trump, who now calls him Sloppy Steve.
I guess Sloppy Steve brought him into the White House quite a bit, and it was one of those things. That's why Sloppy Steve is now looking for a job.
Bannon now calls Donald Trump Jr. a patriot and a good man. Mo Langi, CBS News, the White House.
Steve Bannon also insists there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. A Lovell, Wyoming man allegedly plotted his ex-wife's murder for days, writing journal entries about his plan to, quote, get even. 48-year-old Donald Kraus made his initial appearance in Bighorn County Circuit Court today on one count of first-degree murder. Prosecutors say Kraus stabbed 49-year-old Carol Barnes to death on Thursday at an apartment in Lovell. The victim's son had asked officers to conduct a welfare check after she sent him a text for help. Officers arrived to find Barnes dead in the living room. According to court documents, multiple handwritten notes were found in the home. Those notes, dated and signed by Kraus, indicate he plotted the victim's death for days. In one note, Kraus said he had feared he missed his opportunity to kill Barnes. After finding the victim dead, officers tracked down and arrested Kraus more than 200 miles away in Mills, Wyoming. He's currently in custody. A shooting in Belgrade this weekend that left one dead and another person injured is under investigation today. Belgrade police responded to the scene of a reported shooting at a home on the 1300 block of Idaho Street Sunday morning. One person was found dead and another person injured from an apparent gunshot wound. The surviving victim was transported to the hospital with unknown injuries. A suspect was taken into custody, but that person's name has not been released. Police do believe there is no threat to the community. The names of the victims have not been released. Helena law enforcement is asking for the public's help in identifying two men suspected in a pair of recent burglaries. The latest crime happened at the Chalet Bar, where the suspects broke in and stole an ATM. Minutes later, authorities located that suspect vehicle leaving the area and attempted a traffic stop. The driver led police on a high-speed chase down Lincoln Road, reaching speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. Investigators say the two suspects were in the bar earlier Saturday night. This surveillance video shows the faces of the two suspects who are gambling at that bar. We're told the truck the men fled in is the same getaway vehicle used after a break-in at a business in Lincoln. Authorities say the truck did not have a front license plate and the driver's side fog light is out. Anyone with information should contact authorities. The victim killed in a crash in Helena this weekend is now identified. The Lewis and Clark County coroner reports 32-year-old Ashley Binion died in the crash. Binion likely had a seizure while driving on Saturday evening, leading her to crash into a tree at the corner of Helena Avenue and Dakota Street. She was hospitalized and died the next day. A passenger in her vehicle was injured but survived. Switching gears, New York's busiest airport is working to return to normal today after days of mayhem for stranded passengers. A water main burst flooded most of Terminal 4 at JFK International Airport yesterday. Nearly 3 inches of water gushed into that terminal. Travelers were left in the dark without heat and frigid temperatures. Between that and the winter weather, more than 500 flights have been canceled since Thursday. New York Senator Chuck Schumer is calling for a thorough review of what went wrong. We turn now to the weather scene with Ed McIntosh and how we're looking around the state today.
A havoc caused by the weather. Let's take a look at something that's a little prettier as we take a look. This was from area around Whitefish Mountain over the weekend. These pictures came in and show some sundogs and a big halo there. But a lot of this was created. In fact, it's rather unique because it was the snow making machines, likely at the ski resort, that helped put those ice crystals, what's called diamond dust, up into the atmosphere that helped create some of these beautiful visions that we see from around the mountain from over the weekend. As they make the snow, it creates these small little nuclei that reflect back the sunlight and create some pretty vivid images. But we do have images of snow actually falling from the sky that isn't from a snow-making machine. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks, Ed. Cold but pretty. We'll check back in. Hollywood delivered a message of female empowerment at the Golden Globes, the first major award show since the Harvey Weinstein scandal came to light. CBS's Chris Martinez has more.
To know that a new day is on the horizon.
Oprah Winfrey brought the audience to its feet at Sunday's Golden Globes. The media mogul who received the Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award called out men who have abused their power.
For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up.
Women and men attending the ceremony wore black to call attention to gender inequality and sexual misconduct. Host Seth Meyers addressed the scandal right off the bat.
Good evening, ladies and remaining gentlemen.
I don't think those billboards is very...
3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri won 4 awards, including Best Picture Drama and Best Actress for star Frances McDormand.
The women in this room tonight are not here for the food. We are here for the work.
I want to go to the East Coast.
Lady Bird won Best Picture Comedy or Musical and Best Actress for star Saoirse Ronan. The film's female director, Greta Gerwig, was not nominated, an omission presenter Natalie Portman noted.
And here are the all-male nominees. My new friend,
On the TV side, HBO's Big Little Lies won 4 awards, including Best Limited Series. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale won for Best Drama TV Series. Still ahead on the noon news, Pope Francis addresses world diplomats today with a message about nuclear weapons. We'll explain. First, Ed has our weather forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching MTN News with Aja Goare, Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and Farm and Ranch News.